A random encounter at a tech conference forced me to completely rethink the last 23 years of my life. The person who saved me was there all along. Hi Redditors, I'm sitting in my hotel room in Berlin. The city's evening lights are twinkling outside the window, and my head is a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions that won't let me rest. Today, Tech Europe 2025 ended, one of the biggest conferences in Europe for IT professionals, investors, and startups. I came here from London, where I run my own company, and I thought it would be a standard business event. Presentations, networking, maybe a few useful contacts. But what happened this afternoon turned everything upside down. This isn't just a story about nostalgia or a chance encounter. It's something deeper that made me contemplate my life, my past, and how fate sometimes throws us surprises that give you goosebumps. I'm not one to often write long posts on Reddit, but right now I need to get this off my chest, otherwise I won't sleep. If you like real-life stories with emotions, details, and an unexpected ending, get comfortable. This will be long, but hopefully worth your time. I'll try to describe everything as if you were there with me, step by step. TLDR at the end, but I advise reading it in full because the details make this story special. First, a little about me so you understand the context and why this meeting affected me so deeply. I'm 39 years old. I'm James Ellis, a businessman in the IT sector. I was born and raised in a small town near Manchester, England, a typical provincial place with grey streets, old factories, and schools where everyone knows each other. My parents were simple people. My father worked at a factory. My mother was a teacher in a primary school. Life wasn't sweet, financial problems, constant arguments at home, and I, as the eldest son, learned to be independent early on. My school years, from the 1990s to the early 2000s, were a mix of adventure and chaos for me. I was that guy everyone knew, playful, ambitious, but with a bunch of problems. At school, I was the captain of the football team, had good grades in maths and physics, but I also loved to take risks. My friends and I had adventures. We explored abandoned buildings, rode bikes through the city at night, sometimes even tried beer we stole from our parents' garages. It was a time when mobile phones were just appearing, the internet was slow, and life felt like an endless game. But behind this facade was a void. My parents' divorce when I was 15 hit me hard. I became rebellious, skipped classes, looked for adrenaline in dangerous things. One such moment almost became fatal, but more on that later. I don't want to get ahead of myself. After school, I escaped Manchester. I went to university in London for computer science, then an MBA, and now I run my own company, Ellis Tech. We develop software for fintech, specifically platforms for secure transactions using AI. Life turned out okay. My wife Sarah, we've been together for 12 years, 2 children, a son aged 8 and a daughter aged 5. We live in a cozy house in a London suburb with a garden and a view of the Thames. I travel the world, meet with investors, but sometimes on quiet evenings, memories of the past return. I've always felt there was some unfinished story in my life, like a puzzle missing a piece. And today, that piece was found in the most unexpected place. Now about the conference. Tech Europe is an annual giant event at the Berlin Conference Center, where thousands of people from all over Europe and the US gather. This year's theme is AI in Finance and Business, and I flew in the day before to prepare for my presentation. The center is a modern structure with glass walls, high ceilings, and numerous zones. A main stage for keynote speakers, smaller halls for panel discussions, company booths with product demos, lounge areas with coffee, and even VR rooms for testing new gadgets. The atmosphere is electric. The hum of conversations in English, German, French, the smell of fresh coffee from machines, the glow of screens showing charts, code, and animations. People in suits with badges exchange business cards, laugh, discuss ChatGPT, blockchain, and the future of the economy. I'd been here before last year I closed a €1 million deal, so I felt comfortable. My day started with an early session. I sat in the hall, listening to a speaker from Google about ethical aspects of AI, taking notes on my phone, planning who to talk to during the break. The coffee break is always chaos. Queues at the drink stands, people jostling looking for free tables. I got my espresso, added sugar, and stood aside, checking my email. And suddenly I heard a laugh, warm, melodious, that seemed to pierce right through me. You know that moment when a sound from the past transports you back in time. I looked around. A group of people, 4 or 5 of them, were standing near a booth with VR headsets, discussing something animatedly. Among them, a woman around 38, in an elegant gray suit, with short blonde hair, glasses with thin frames, and a confident smile. She was gesturing with her hands, explaining something to her colleagues, and her voice, something about it was so familiar, like an echo from school hallways. I looked closer, a slender posture, striking blue eyes, a slight smile at the corners of her lips. And suddenly, a flash of memory. It was Elizabeth. Elizabeth Thompson, my classmate from Manchester Secondary School. The The same Lizzie, as we called her, who sat in front of me in English class, always with a book in her hands, quiet but with a sharp mind. She wasn't in our cool crowd, more of an introvert with a few close friends, but I remembered how she helped me with essays when I was late with homework. We weren't best friends, but we talked, sometimes joked during breaks, shared notes. I froze on the spot, my heart started pounding like a drum in my chest. How many years had passed? 22, 23. The last time I saw her was at graduation in 2004. She was dancing with her friends and then she left early without saying goodbye. Rumors had it that she went to study at Oxford or Cambridge, but the details faded with time. And now she's here in Berlin and she looks incredible. On her badge, Elizabeth Thompson, partner Euroinvest Capital. That's one of the leading venture capital funds in Europe, investing millions in tech startups. I knew about them because I was looking for investors to expand my company. Could it really be her? My brain refused to believe it, but my intuition was screaming, yes. I moved closer, trying to look casual, though my hands were trembling slightly. Lizzie, Elizabeth Thompson from Manchester, I asked, smiling. She turned around, her eyes widened in surprise, and then a warm, sincere smile that seemed to melt the ice of the years. James Ellis. Oh my God, it can't be. You haven't changed a bit. We hugged, briefly but sincerely, like old acquaintances separated by years but not by oblivion. The group she was with politely stepped away, smiling, old friends meeting, and we were left alone by the coffee stand, surrounded by the buzz of the conference, but as if in our own separate world. The conversation started easily, as if we had parted yesterday. What are you doing here, James? You look like you run the whole world, she laughed. I told her about Ellis Tech, about life in London, about my family, Sarah, the kids, how we go to Italy every summer. She nodded, smiled, her eyes sparkling with interest. And you? I've heard about Euroinvest. You invest in cool projects. How did you end up there? She told her story. After school, she went to the London School of Economics on a scholarship, studied finance, worked in banks, then moved into venture capital. Now she lives in Berlin, has an office in the center, travels between Europe and the US. I always dreamed of something more than our little town. Remember how we talked about the future in career classes? I nodded. Yes, you wanted to be a journalist, but became an investor. Cool. We moved to the lounge area, comfortable sofas, low tables, soft lighting. We sat with coffee in our hands and memories flowed like a river. We remembered our school, the old brick building, the long corridors with lockers where we hid comics and notes. Remember Mr. Harris, the history teacher? He always told jokes about Napoleon and we'd laugh. Elizabeth said. I laughed. Yeah, and you won that competition for the best essay on World War II. Everyone was shocked. Quiet Lizzie wins. We talked about classmates, who got married, who emigrated, who became famous. Tommy, our goalkeeper from the football team, is now a coach in the Premier League. And Sarah, your friend, is an actress in London, I told her. She added, and remember John? He opened a cafe in Manchester. I saw it on social media. The conversation became deeper, touching on personal moments. I told her about my parents' divorce, how it made me rebel. I did so many stupid things, Lizzie. Skipping school, parties, risks, I almost ruined my life. She listened attentively, her face expressing sympathy. I know, James, we all went through something. I had hard times too, my parents were strict, my mother was ill, I felt lonely. We remembered school parties, the one on Halloween where I dressed as a superhero and she as a witch, the prom where they played music by Britney Spears and the Backstreet Boys. You left early that night. Why? I asked. She looked away. It was difficult, problems at home. The atmosphere changed from light nostalgia to tense. The conference around us was bustling, speakers announcing the next sessions, people running around with laptops, but we were in our own bubble. I brought up that incident, the one that changed me. Remember the night at the lake? The guys and I went on motorbikes, we were drinking, and I almost drowned. It was a terrible moment. A dark lake outside the city, cold water, alcohol in my blood. I dove in, hit something, went under. Someone pulled me out, called an ambulance anonymously from a payphone. At the hospital, they said, "You're a lucky boy. One more minute, and it would have been the end." The police looked for the rescuer, but without success. This incident was a turning point. I quit the stupid stuff, focused on my studies, built a career. That anonymous call saved me, I confessed. Elizabeth paled, her hands clenched the cup. James, did you never wonder who it was? She asked quietly. I shook my head. No, I thought it was a random witness. She was silent for a long time, looking out the window at the Berlin streets. Then she took a deep breath. It was me. Shock paralyzed me. What? She continued, her voice trembling. That night I was by the lake. Not with you, I had run away from home. My parents, my father was abusive. He yelled, hit my mother. I couldn't take it. I went for a walk at night, thinking about bad things, about ending it all. But I saw you in the water. I rushed over, pulled you to the shore, gave you mouth to mouth. I had learned it in a first aid course at school. Then I ran to a phone and called an ambulance, anonymously because I was scared. If I said who I was, they'd find me, take me back home, and everything would get worse. I wasn't supposed to be there. It could have exposed my running away, caused a scandal. And also, I had a crush on you, James, but I was ashamed. I was afraid you'd think I was stalking you. I just wanted you to live, and that gave me the strength to fight on myself. Tears rolled down my cheeks. All my life I had been looking for that rescuer, and it was her, Quiet Lizzie, who changed us both. Why didn't you say anything before? I whispered. She smiled through her tears, because it wasn't about me, and now we're here, both strong. We hugged, and the world seemed to stop. This isn't the end. We exchanged numbers, planning to meet in London. Thank you, Elizabeth, for my life. TLDR, at a conference in Berlin, I met a former classmate, now an investor. We were reminiscing about school, and it turned out she had anonymously saved my life because she had run away from home due to family problems and was afraid of the consequences. Update 1 after the meeting. Hello again, thank you for the comments, your stories are inspiring. After that conversation, Elizabeth and I went for dinner at a Berlin restaurant. Steaks, wine, hours of talking. She told me more about her life. After the incident, she went to therapy, changed her last name, Thompson is her maiden name, built a career to help others. Her fund invests in projects against domestic violence. I shared this with Sarah, she's thrilled, says it's a sign. We agreed on business cooperation and a personal friendship. Life goes on, full of surprises. If there's more, I'll write. What are your thoughts on this story? Did the author do the right thing? What would you have done in his shoes? Share your opinion in the comments. And if you enjoy this video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't want to miss new stories.